Welcome to the Class 5A Region Preview Show. This is the Friday main event. I'm Mike Molder, and he is Lee Teat, my partner in crime, and Lee. Region Preview Show for the 5th class. That's pretty good.
5A is got 14 new coaches, man.
14 new coaches, and I think they lost some teams. I think it was 54 teams last year. Dropped down to 51 teams. Like you said, Lee, 14 new coaches. 5A, much like 4A, the class we just covered, I think a lot of regions pretty wide open. I don't think it's clear-cut for at least 2 or 3 of the regions as to who the champion will be.
Right.
Now, Class 5A Region 1, that's where we'll get started, Lee Teat. They've got 7 teams. They've got 2 new coaches. And this region is one of those, I don't think it's quite as obvious as what you would think. Now, Crockett did win every region game by an average of 25 points. They only beat Boone, their arch rival, Daniel Boone, by 7 points. But with the talent they've got, they've only got 3 starters back on offense, 6 on defense, Lee, but I like the talent they have back.
I definitely like the talent they got coming back in Cade Larkins. Kid threw for almost 4,000 yards last year, 42 TDs against 11 picks. So statistically speaking, Cade Larkins
he's a beast.
He's a beast. And then they got a 6'2", 190-pound tailback in Prince Colley and a 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver in Dante Hackler. So that's a pretty big 3-headed monster right there.
Yep.
So you got to like the 3 they do have coming back. And they got 6 back on the defensive side of the ball, so I think they'll hold up. I like them at the 1. I do, for those reasons, obviously, but I think David Crockett gets the 1 spot here.
And what a job Hayden Chamley
Yes,
did,
sir.
Lee Teat, a young guy, 12-1 in his first year there. He was a 2011 graduate from Crockett County. He spent 3 years coaching linebackers, and now he's the man. He's the head guy. And you got to be impressed. A quarterfinal run there is the first year as head coach.
Yep. I'd like to see that Science Hill game. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I think so too. And then Ooltewah had a big year last year. That's a 6A team that's on this Crockett schedule. Sullivan Central, Knoxville Webb. They lost last year, Lee, in the 3rd round, as we mentioned, to Knox Central, the eventual state champs in 5A.
That's right.
So I think Crockett's going to be solid again this year in Region 1. Moving on down in Region 1, Daniel Boone, a team, I don't know if you remember this or not, like was it 4 or 5 years ago, they had this huge fight as they typically played that game last week of the season, a big fight, wound up getting both of them kicked out of postseason play. But those 2 teams, there's no love lost there.
Not at all. So Trailblazers, they got 8 returners on offense. Charlie Cole's a big part of that, tailback. He's a preseason All-Stater.
Right.
I like Daniel Boone at the 2.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Jenkins, he's 94 and 70 in his 15 years at Boone. I don't know why I said 54. He might be 54 years old. But the Trailblazers, 93 last year, Lee. The only region loss was to Crockett. I think there's probably 3 teams in this region actually that could contend for title. Tennessee High, they lost to Crockett by 32 in the 2nd round, but I think they played them pretty tough the first time they met. I think that Tennessee High, the Vikings, Mike May's squad, are 35 and 32 in his 6 years there at Tennessee. They run that spread wing. 8 and 4 last year, 4 and 2. So you got 3 teams that had 8 or more wins in this region, and I think who do you like in this region?
Well, Tennessee High, it might be the sleeper nobody's really thinking about. They got Nolan Wishing, who is a East Tennessee commit. Is a tight end. He's a preseason All-Stater. And then his kid, Trevor Dowdell, I actually went to school with this dude's dad.
Yeah.
He's an assistant coach there. And he's the real deal, too. He's solid as a rock, and he can pound it. And I like Tennessee High right here. Like you said, because they played Boone and Davy Crockett close last year, both single-digit losses. I don't see really any let up there. So this 1, 2, 3 could potentially
Flip.
do, like I said, how the ball bounces.
Right. Tennessee, they traveled to Dobbins Bennett. Then they had to travel to Virginia. And I think for at least one game, they got Sullivan South at home. You look at Boone's schedule, they got Greenville, Elizabethton, and they also played Dobbins Bennett. They had to travel to Elizabethton and to Sullivan South. So, non-region, there's some pretty good talent there in the non-region schedule as well.
That's right.
So those three teams, I think, are the front runners. Cocke County, the fourth seed in this region last year, they're under new coaching head coach Scotty Dykes. He was the offensive coordinator at Hardin Valley, also coached at Harriman and Austin East. He's an 89 graduate of Cocke County. He comes home. I like that hire. I think that's going to be a good hire for the Fighting Cocks.
I think so, too. Be interesting to see. He's got senior offensive line, and then he's got a senior QB back there in Tyler Venerable.
Right.
They lost to the eventual state champs there, 48-6 last year, but I like the hire.
And they were 7-4, Lee overall, 3-3 in region play. So you had top four teams, all with at least 7 wins. So pretty balanced region, I think, top to bottom. But I think I like Crockett to repeat.
I do too. But what about this Morristown East hire? We just talked about Cocke County. Caleb Slover, he moves over from Cocke County, stays in the region, goes to Morristown East.
Right.
What did he see? What did he see there?
Maybe more money. I don't know. It's hard to say, man. He's like I say, he's took over the Hurricane program, team that was 2-8 last year. Only 4 starters back on both sides of the ball. They got C.J. Livesay and then Jacob Gossett back, running back and the linebacker. And, they've got Morristown West as a non-region game along with Jefferson County, Gibbs, and Sevier County. So I think East has got the potential to get some non-region wins this year. Definitely. I don't know how much they move up in the region, though, if any.
I definitely see them getting some more wins. Be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think so. So, Lee, we'll go ahead. I'm sorry, there's a couple more teams I hadn't talked about yet. Cherokee 1-9. That's a big region. I didn't even realize how big that region was. A total of 7 teams in this region. But Cherokee, the Chiefs, Cody Ball is in his 3 years there. He's 12-19, 1-9 last year, 1-5 in region play. Colin Trent is back at quarterback. Connor Smith listed as an athlete. He's a senior. They'll be relying on him. 5 starters back on offense, 7 on defense. And, Lee, what about Volunteer?
Well, Volunteer, where did they go? 3-8 last year, 0-6 in the region. Justin Presley come in. He's a first-year coach last year, and he was at Siegel and Hillsboro.
Middle Tennessee product.
Right. And then as a head coach in Chicago, for the last few years as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see any room, man. I don't see any room to move.
Got a lot of starters back, Lee, but I agree with you. I don't know that they improve any of that 3-8. They've got CAK, Sullivan Central, Sullivan East, and Unicoi County as non-region opponents. But, I think this region's pretty set up at the top. I don't see any room to move up. Moving into Region 2, Lee, Knox Central, they're defending state champs. The Bobcats, Coach Rosser has done a heck of a job there, 47-20 in his 5 years at Central, averaging almost 10 wins this season. 13-2 last year, 6-0. They did defeat Henry County in that title game, 14-9. Only title game we missed, Lee Teat.
That's right.
Got rained out on Saturday. They came back and replayed it on Sunday. Unfortunately, my hotel reservations ran out before that happened, so we missed that one. But I like the Bobcats. I think they're going to be solid this year. What's your thoughts?
I definitely see them repeating right here at Region 2 at the one spot because of Dakota Falver. Kid's a real deal, 27 touchdowns versus 6 interceptions. And they've got a preseason All-State wide receiver in DB. And then they also have Caleb Fortner, who's a preseason All-State linebacker as a junior. I think Knox Central has too much talent coming back for anybody in the region to knock them off. And then obviously they were the defending state champs, so I like them at the 1.
I'm going to pull not so fast, my friend, on this one because they're going to have competition. I'm hearing a lot of good things out of South Doyle. They did lose by a substantial margin, 35-0 last year, but I don't know all the ins and outs. I believe there may have been some injuries prior to that Week 8 game. Not sure about that, but Cherokees are tough, man. The Clark Duncan squad, they've been doing really good in the 7-on-7s, and if you read Coach T like you and I do, a lot of hype around this South Doyle team. They've got 10 starters back on offense, 9 on defense. And Elijah Young, the Missouri commitment, this kid is lightning fast. He's a 4-year starter, Lee Teat at tailback. And then they've got a 3-year starter at quarterback in Mason Brang. And then I didn't mention Jordan Wilson, offensive lineman. He's also preseason All-State. A lot of talent for this Cherokee squad.
Well, they're going to get it done. They better do it with this bunch.
Yeah.
But if you look at his outer region, he's at Fulton and at Anderson County, and then he's got Powell at home. Can you get through that unscathed, injury-wise?
That's the question, yeah.
Definitely will be prepared for the playoffs by running through that gauntlet there. And I do like the fact that he's got all this talent coming back, but I still don't see him knocking Knox Central.
Yeah, well, I would put Central as a favorite as well, but I don't think it's a huge step down to South Doyle. And I think South Doyle, if everything goes their way, it has the talent level to beat Central.
I would agree with that, talent for talent.
Yeah. Lee, the third-place team last year is Gibbs. Brad Turner, 6-5 in his first year there at Gibbs. They got knocked out by Boone in the first round, 32-14. He's got 4 starters back, including Troy Davis at quarterback. What's your thoughts on the Eagles?
I'm interested to see. I think they may slide one spot this year. I do. All 4 of their region wins last year were by less than 7.
Right.
Or 7 points or less.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the fact they got Troy Davis back at quarterback. They got Ray County at home, and they go to Morristown East. I think they slide, Mike.
You think they slide?
I do.
Well, I kind of agree with you, Lee, and the reason being I think Knoxville Hall's the team that finished behind them gets better. We like Scott Cummings, former head coach at Knox West, won a title there. He's been at Cleveland for the last, 3 or 4 years. He left Cleveland, took over the Halls program, a Halls team that only lost to Davy Crockett 20-17, so they were very competitive with a good Crockett squad. The Red Devils returned 4 starters on both sides of the ball. They got a good-looking junior quarterback in Ty Humphrey. I think it's going to make a difference. But they also got Caden Tillett that's listed as a quarterback as well. So I don't know who's going to get the ball there for them.
I don't know either, but I tell you what, Coach Cummings, they're going to line it up. Typically, if you ever watch Coach Cummings' teams, they're fast. Mm-hmm. He does a really good job, I think, developing speed.
Right.
And I think if you can get speed in that 5A Region 2, I think you can make waves. I think they may take the 3 spot, Mike.
I like them at 3. I'll agree with you on that. I think they go to 3. I think they slide ahead of Gibbs, but I like Gibbs to secure that 4 spot. Carter, another team that's got a new head coach. Scott Meadows comes in. He's a former head coach at Alcoa, Catholic, Sequoia, Pigeon Forge, Jefferson County, William Blunt. This guy's been around the block. He knows a little bit about football. He comes in as the new head coach at Carter. The Hornets got a lot of kids back, 6 on offense, 8 on defense. Any potential, they maybe move up into that 4th spot.
They could knock on the door because they do have 6 returners on offense and 8 on D.
Right.
And Coach Meadows, man, like you said, he's been around and he's won pretty much everywhere he's been. Yeah, they could make some noise.
They've got Kenneth Cox, Nick Davidson, Elijah Brown, Logan Jernigan, another tight end senior, plays tight end and defensive line. So got some kids back. I got Carnes, Clinton, Union County, and Powell. They got a couple of winnable non-region games. So, right. Yeah, they may improve. Next down was Sevier County. And this region it's the way it stacked up. It was easy because each team was one win better than the team below them.
That's
so
correct.
It was easy to establish the order here, and I don't know that the pecking order changes a whole lot this year. Sevier County's really dropped off a lot. They were in that state title game against, I think it was Independence, wasn't it? 14, does that sound right?
Yeah, 14, 15.
Somewhere around in there. Because the kid that led them is a quarterback at Vandy now, and I feel kind of dumb. I don't remember his name, but
right.
The Smoky Bears, they haven't fared too well the last couple of years. 2-8 last year. 5 returners on both sides of the ball. Their quarterback they thought was going to be their stud, their savior this year, Cam Burden, transfers out to Alcoa, and I found out he's going to be playing, I think, in the secondary for Alcoa. He's not going to be a quarterback at Alcoa. So interesting move there, and that definitely hurt them. So I don't know that they improve any on that 2-8 record.
I don't see it either.
Seymour Lee finished at the bottom of this league, and this region, they've got a new coach as well. Scott Branton comes in. He was offensive coordinator last year. He takes over for Scott Galen, the former Vol, who is out now. 7 returners back on offense, 4 on defense. Don't see any upward movement out of them as well.
I don't know where they can.
Yeah, I don't either. It's pretty tough region.
Yeah.
Definitely up at the top. Region 3, Lee, another very, very tough region. I think top to bottom is going to be better this year. Fulton finished 32 point better than all the other teams when you're talking about winning margin. I think Oak Ridge is the only team that stayed close. They lost by 8. Powell lost by 11. So those 3 teams were I think probably the best 3 teams in the region. Of course, we know now that Powell had to forfeit some wins last year, but Powell had a good program last year. But Rob Black, one of our favorite coaches, I would say.
Well, Coach Black's doing it again. He ain't ducking anybody. He's got Knox Central, Austin East, Maryville on the schedule, all out of region. The only thing that concerns me this year for Coach Black is he lost a ton of really talented players last year off that squad that were seniors.
Yeah.
I don't know that he does the 10-2, 6-0 again. But, boy, I never want to count Coach Black out.
I don't either.
I mean, he lost by 3 to Knox.
I don't think they win the region this year, Lee. This region is just too darn tough top to bottom. I mean, this is probably your best region when you're going top to bottom in 5A. They've got Oak Ridge, the Wildcats, Joe Gaddis, who's also another friend of the show. And we've had a lot of coaches in this class that we've had on the show, but Joe Gaddis is Paul Joe. He's a regular, 315 career wins now. 10-3 last year, 5-1 in region play. They were knocked out by Catholic, who is now in D2.
Correct.
So a team they won't have to worry about this year. 7 starters back on offense, 6 on defense, Lee, and they're eat up with preseason talent.
Eat up with it, buddy.
Preseason all-state talent.
Mitchell Givens back at quarterback, and he had limited action last year. I think you'll see him come on. Jack Replogle's a wide receiver's coming back. Jacob Adams, tight end linebacker, a preseason All-Stater, and then they got a preseason All-Stater in Tyler Galloway. It's an O-line, D-line. So I think, he's going to be solid on both sides of the ball, and everybody knows Coach Gaddis, knows he knows how to coach.
Absolutely.
Been at it a long time, man. And I think he's pretty excited about this squad.
Well, they only beat West, the team that finished third last year, Lee. They only beat them by 3, and I think Lamar Brown's squad is going to be really good again this year. He's 125-70. Of course, he was at Morristown West for several years. Came over to Knoxville West. I wonder, did he come over behind Scott Cummings? No? There was somebody in between them, wasn't there?
There was somebody in between.
Yeah, I can't remember. But anyway, they were knocked out by Catholic last year, 34-28, the first round. Played them very close. He's got 8 kids back on offense, 5 on defense. He's got some pretty good talent back as well, Lee.
I think so, too, with the number 19 recruit in the state and Drew Francis, and then the number 45 recruit in Tyrese Edwards. Coach Brown's got plenty of talent coming back. Man, where do you go in this region?
That's what I'm saying. This is one of the hardest regions, no doubt, in the state. I think West. I think they're favored to take a playoff spot, but I'd probably put them around that 4 spot. The team below them, you got Clinton, who I think is going to be pretty good as well. Clinton lost to West by 6 points, so they were right there. That's Randy McCamey, who we met when he was at Grace Christian as a head coach, and I think, where was he at before that? I've talked to him at a couple of different locations. But anyway, 4-7 last year, 3-3 in region play. They got knocked out by Soddy Daisy. 5 starters back on offense, 6 on defense. Trevor Linderman, the offensive lineman, junior, he's one of the kids to keep an eye on. And then they had Bryce Collins made the preseason All-State team as a punter, Lee.
Right. So, Coach McCamey, though, there you go again. Where do you move up in this? Where's the spot for him?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a tough region. I think he could potentially contend with Knoxville West, given that they played them close. But I think the 4 top teams and the one of the teams we haven't talked about yet, and that's because they finished last in this region. They finished last in this region, Lee, is because they had to forfeit several wins. And of course, we're talking about Powell, the Panthers. We had Matt Lowe on our show in the spring. Eat up with talent, man. A lot of people are picking Powell in their top 5, and we'll see here in a little bit what the Friday main event does as well. But I like Powell to win this region this season.
I think it'll be between them and Fulton.
What about Oak Ridge? What about West? That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. It's tough region. But
I think Coach Black, I give Coach Black, well, you can't, though, because you got Coach Gaddis right there, too. Yeah, you're right, man. 1, 2, and 3, I think, are wide open. I do like Powell for the simple fact, man, they have got tons of talent coming back. Mm-hmm. But they got a brutal schedule, man. Greenville and Anderson County out of region, those 2 really tough opponents.
Yep. And South Doyle's a good team, as we mentioned, too. They play them as well.
That's right. So we'll see, but I definitely think they're going to improve on the 2-8 record, even though they forfeited 6 wins. This is an interesting region, buddy.
So a couple of things we didn't mention, Lee. That's Carnes. Carnes 3-7, 1-5 in region play. They bring 6 starters back on both sides of the ball. Campbell County, Justin Price, 49-38 in his 8 years there. 4-6, 2-4 in region play. They've got 6 back on offense, 7 on defense. Right. Again, this region is just so tough.
Heavy.
Yeah, it's top heavy. I don't see teams like Carnes and Campbell County, even though I think they probably will be improved with that many returning starters. I don't think they improve any in region standings. I don't know how they would. I'm with you. I like Oak Ridge, I like Fulton, and I like Powell in the top 3 spots. And I don't think there's any drop off from West. I think West could ease into that 2-3 spot as well.
Correct.
West is going to be good, man. Don't overlook them. So
I'd like to be up in that area watching some of that every week.
Yeah, man, you got that right. So I like those 4 teams as our playoff teams. But I really don't know what the order is going to be, to be honest with you, Lee Teat. Moving on to Region 4, Lee, you drop from 5 teams to 4 teams. So as I talked to Coach Pemberton when I was over at Franklin County this spring, you're going to make the playoffs anyway. But Ray County, they beat Lenoir City by 14, and then they lost to Soddy Daisy by 3. Soddy Daisy did win that region, Lee, and they've got almost their entire offense back. So I like the Trojans this year.
I do too. I think they're probably the one. I would put them at the 1 seed in the region going in. I like Keyshawn Eubanks and Isaac Barnes, and then Hayden Maynard. Probably 3 key players that they've got coming back.
Right.
I like Soddy at 1.
I like them at 1, and remember they give Catholic fits the last 2 years. If you remember, we had Steve Matthews on with us every year. And
he did.
We kind of jabbed him a little bit last year. We said, Coach, you almost let Soddy Daisy get you last year. What happened there? And he's like, well, they won't sneak up on us this year. And what happened?
Yep, snuck up on us.
They beat them.
Yep.
But that just tells you that's a talented team. Because if Catholic knew going in how good the Trojans were, and they still got them, and that tells me Saudi Daisy's pretty legit.
Yeah, I think so.
So they were the one team, Lee. I like them at 1 again this year. Ray County finished at 2. I think they hold down that 2 spot. The Golden Eagles breaking in a new quarterback this year. I saw him, Kyle Carr, big kid, 6'4", 200 pounds. Coach Pemberton's pretty excited about him. Of course, he takes over for Coach Pemberton's son who graduated.
Correct.
I think he's going to be solid, and then he's going to be handing the ball off to Bradley Goodwin, who's a preseason All-State. So what do you think about Ray County?
They're going to improve on that 4-6 record.
Yeah.
I know that. I think they'll be the 2 spot in the region. And, depending on how they play Saudi, if they can control the clock and keep Saudi Daisy's offense sitting, they might be able to sneak in there, but I like them at the 2 for sure.
Yeah, well, again, they only lost to Saudi by 3 points last year, and if Coach can develop this Kyle Carr, quickly, and he is a senior, so he's been around the program. It's not like he's sticking a freshman in there.
Right.
So if he comes to fruit and starts playing well at an early pace, Ray County could take that 1 spot, I think. The third team was Lenoir City, Lee Teat. The Panthers, Jeff Cortez, 2-2 last year in region play, 5-6 overall. They were knocked out by Fulton in the first round. Not a lot of starters back, 2 on offense, 5 on defense. What do you think about them and that non-region schedule they've got?
Well, they go at Carter, then Greenback, Gibbs, Seymour, and then William Blunt. It's pretty tough.
I might could see a win or 2 in there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe get one more win. But you know what? I'd like to talk to Coach Cortez. I want to know just what is a West Coast wing bone.
That's what Donovan Stewart said he ran.
What is that?
At least I think
I'm West Coast and wing bone, or interesting.
I don't know, brother. I haven't heard that terminology either. Maybe you should have just put multiple on.
Yeah, how about that multiple?
Yeah. Walker Valley, Lee, and this is a program that's got a lot of excitement going now. Drew Atkins, the new head coach there, he was a former offensive coordinator at Red Bank and at Ottawa, and, man, he's generating a lot of excitement around this program. Of course, this team does have the longest 5A losing streak at 13 games, I believe. That's correct, yeah. And then they got White County on September the 20th. White County's at 15 losses. They're at 24 losses. So somebody's going to break that string if Walker Valley doesn't break it before then. And I'm telling you, he's actually on my Facebook, and I've been hearing a lot of excitement out of that squad and out of him in particular.
Well, you should. You got 10 returners on each side of the ball. And look at his lineup. There are a lot of juniors.
Right.
A lot of juniors that he's building on. And I think Coach Akins makes a big turnaround this year, just myself personally.
Yeah, I think they definitely pick up a couple of wins, Lee. But I don't know if they make any move in the region. Maybe they jump Lenoir City, possibly.
It's possible.
But I like where the direction of the program
right.
with Coach Atkins leading them.
Correct.
All right, Lee, that is our Class 5A Part 1, Regions 1 through 4, our region preview show. We hope you guys have enjoyed this. We'll be coming to you next with our Part 2, Region 5 through 8 in Class 5A. I'm Mike Molder, and he is Lee Teat, and this has been the Friday Minute Event sponsored by CoachT.com. We appreciate Jim Thompson and everything he does for us. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you hadn't already done that, then shame on you, Lee. They should have seen a video by now by the Friday Minute Event. But please hit that subscribe button for us and show us that you enjoy what we do. We'll catch you guys next video, Class 5A, Regions 5 through 8. We'll see you then.